Oh, hey. In this business, it's easy to feel like the low man on the totem pole.
Thanks, son.
But I'll let you in on a secret. I'm working on my own movie.
Coming through.
Yeah, that's right. Just in time for this year's Reimage Film Festival. A celebration of faith-inspired short films, sponsored by the Catholic Diocese of Trenton. First prize was $500. And there's still time for you to enter your short film. For more information, go to reimagefilmfestival.com. Reimage Film Festival. See you there.
All right, everybody, let's dance.
What a beautiful, beautiful invite to all of our young people in the diocese to get together and to talk and sing and enter a film into the beautiful Reimaging Film Festival that we're going to have again. Hi, I'm Monsignor Walter Nolan. Welcome to the Catholic Corner. You know, we're going to learn a little bit more about what that commercial was really all about. The exciting film festival, which takes place here in our own diocese, started last year. It's the Reimage Film Festival. Reimage challenges filmmakers, young and old, but especially the younger generation, to rethink, reflect, and reimage. According to the Reimage Film Festival website, the mission of the film festival is to support and encourage the next generation of visual storytellers to explore the glory of God's creation, capture the perseverance of justice and truth, and uphold and defend the dignity of the human person. Participation is open to all faiths and place of origin. Because of our festival, it's for the short films. All entries must not be longer than 25 minutes. My guests today are three members of the committee that plans this film festival and also a professor from Rider University. The planning of the second annual Reimage Festival and those who will be sharing it will enter their love and their blessings, and our professor will enter his own film festival. He encourages his film students to enter and to attend our film festival. Patrick Dolan. Patrick, welcome to the Catholic Corner. Patrick is the Associate Director of the Diocese of Trenton, Office of Radio and Television. The Reimage Film Festival is something he has been wanting to start for a long time. He's a young Catholic who enjoys creating his own short films. Francis Kokatas. Francis, thank you for being with us today. Is the event coordinator of the Diocese of Trenton, Office of Youth and Young Adults. Francis brings her talents of planning and coordination of the Reimage Film Festival Committee. Father Bill Lego, been a priest friend of ours for a good spell. He's now the Catholic chaplain over there at the College of Trenton. And he's the campus minister who does so much of their work and challenges the young people to get involved in things just like we're talking about today. Father Bill gives Catholic students the opportunity to be active in their faith right on the university campus. The college campus ministry at TCNJ provides some of the seed money for the first Reimage Film Festival last year. Father Bill, thank you very much for getting our students so involved. Being a part of us. Dr. Sean Kilday is the professor in the Department of Communication and Journalism at Rider University in Lawrenceville, New Jersey. He's the producer of Stills of the Movement, the Civil Rights Era, photojournalism of Flip Schuelke, which was screened at the Reimage Film Festival last year and won Best Film of the National Broadcasting Society's annual competition. It was screened at the Short Film Corner at the Cannes Film Festival, has been screened at Morehouse College, the University of Miami, and the University of Alabama. Dr. Sean is currently working on a film entitled Children of Terror, and we hope to hear much more about that. It's about two women, a German Jew and a Catholic Pole, who experienced the Holocaust as little girls. Dr. Sean, wow, thank you. Thanks for being with us today.
Thanks for having me.
Where do we start? Maybe let's start to kind of think about last year's first annual Reimage Festival. What were some of the highlights that went on? And I know it was a beautiful experience of time for yourselves and for a lot of young people. Must have left you with an awful lot of thoughts. And
well, we were very fortunate to have such a great turnout for a first-time effort like this.
And this time last year was in Asbury Park.
That's right, at the Paramount Theater.
Good.
And we were also very blessed with a beautiful day, and so many people came out to Asbury Park and took part in our film festival. We showed 20 short films. It was a mix of animations, music videos, documentaries, and narratives. So really something for everyone, and we got such a positive response from the whole festival.
And Francis and Father Bill, you were all part of the committee last year also.
Yep.
Yeah, with the planning and planning, and then the actual day itself, and we were so happy for its success. And for me, a highlight was also the guest speakers that we had. So certainly, you go to a film festival to see films, and so definitely not disappointed there. And then, like icing on the cake, if you will, was the guest speakers that we had throughout the day, sprinkling throughout the day, that spoke about their films and their work in the media, and I thought those were just tremendous. I enjoyed all of that.
I had the opportunity to be a judge, so it was a new experience for me. It was great.
Well, I have to smile with you, Francis, because I guess I was a judge on the side. They gave me some films to look at, and I got my staff together, and we chose some films. And
Right, that's right. You were one of the others, that's right.
And I must admit that I don't know how Father Bill is, but I'm a little sneaky with these things. They give you little homily things. You say, "Well, this is a great film. Nobody's ever seen this. I can use this." So we all get something. And Dr. Sean, you were one of the winners.
Yes, I won an honorable mention award for my film Stills of the Movement, which was about a civil rights era photojournalist, as you said in your intro.
Well, that's so we have everybody here. Tell me a little bit just about a film. I'm not that familiar with film festivals, although I was there last year, or at least for part of the day. I mean, you have a mission statement which sounded so beautiful to get people to think about, I guess, particular types of films or particular types of work that becomes ministry. What's the idea of a film festival, though? Just to give people the opportunity to share their thoughts or their expertise and to learn more and to get excited about film?
Yeah, it's I guess usually to bring attention to a certain city that might be hosting a film festival, whether it's Philadelphia or New York. Usually it's much longer, like a week-long event that has screenings at night of multiple films, and whether they might show 100 or a couple hundred films over the course of several days. This one, we confined to one day, and we confined it only to short films. So a little bit different, but trying to cater more towards the diocesan community and have them respond and have them maybe submit their own work.
And with today's technology, we still see film as very valuable media to get across messages or alive. And I happened to see myself, I don't even remember where now, but it was something on television. But they were showing back when I was a kid, the only way you got the news really, beside a newspaper, was if you went to the movies. They would show you a film of the news, and it might even be dated because the time they would show it, maybe the World Series was over or whatever it happened to be that they were trying to show. But it still had a great impact. And to say, now, what are your hopes for this year? This is the second one, the second.
We're hoping to increase. We had about 20 films that we showed last year. We're hoping to increase that, even double the number this year. We already have about 15 or so entrants, and so we're hoping that before the deadline that we would have more entrants for this coming year. And I think the big thing is there's so many different film festivals, but our mission and the reason behind ours is not so much to highlight a city, perhaps. This year we're going to be in Manasquan at the Algonquin movie theater, so still along the shore, but in a different place, because we're focusing more on the content and the mission of our film festival. Because as you know, the moving, picture's worth 1,000 words, and so much can be said. And sometimes the wrong thing can be said by media. And so in our whole thing about re-imaging is, to use the gifts and talents of all of the artists involved and the people in the technical realm of movie making to use it for a positive way. I think of that phrase in the Bible, prophet Isaiah, about, turn your spear into a pruning hook. The thing is that you have, the ability to write something, to film it, direct it, edit it, and you can use it for, as a weapon or as something to cultivate and nurture the growth. And so that's really, I think, where we stand out in our area on the East Coast for our film festival as having a different kind of focus. So we look at technical merit as well as storytelling, two sides. Each category that we have for prizes looks at both, because both are important. And it's in our, in our mission that I think we kind of stand out and have something to offer for people in our diocese to enjoy, but certainly the broader area for them to partake in and submit entries.
And I think it would be great if we could encourage more high school students to submit.
Yeah, that's where
That's an area that we need to really
work on, yes.
So this is open now for, say, high school students all the way up to young adults or anybody?
We actually have 3 different competitions, one for high school students, one for college students and young adults, and one for just general participation. So we try to, basically going with certain guidelines for each of those categories, we're able to judge them accordingly and award them accordingly. So.
But how do you get the information out? I mean, how do, let's say, students at Rider or the College of New Jersey, or how do we get or high schools, how do we get the information out to everybody?
We have flyers. We've made lots of flyers. We have it up it's on our website. We have the commercial.
The commercials, right. And we have radio spots that we ran last year. We're just in the beginning process of starting to do that now.
The big thing is to go to the website for the film festival itself. I think that's where...
Does it help if you contact all of the parishes or all of the youth groups or all of the students on campuses?
Yeah, I guess we received the flyer via email and fax, so I'm not exactly sure where it came from, but we were hanging them around. It's college. I teach at Rider University, where undergrads are notorious for making films about death and drugs and other things that don't, look to the brighter side of our, human spirit. So this, I like the Reimage Film Festival, really sparked my attention first, because it was sort of an alternative. You don't see a whole lot of outlets like this that really look at faith. So so many of the students work on these types of things. They're going through changes. They're becoming adults, and they think it's sort of interesting to do something about death, right? For many of them, it's the first time they're starting to think about topics like these. So we didn't. I don't think we had any Rider students actually submit anything this year, and we found out about it a little late. But the film that I did, which was about Martin Luther King, the most famous Baptist, right, from our nation probably, and they saw the Reimage Film Festival. I think at first I thought, oh, this is a Catholic thing, and I said, well, it's not really a Catholic thing, right? Read the mission. It's about faith. It's about it's about much more than that. So my film really wasn't about Catholicism at all. And I thought it fit in really nicely with what these folks put together for the Reimage Film Festival. And can I say, too, I was so impressed when I got there. I actually brought my son, who's 8 years old, and he sat through many of those films. That's a tall order for 8-year-olds, because the quality was so high. And I've been to a lot of first-time festivals that never make it to a second time. So I was thrilled when I heard that you all were going to be back for a second year, because you can build upon it. But I was really impressed for a first-time festival at the quality of the films. And I had mentioned earlier the one, Crossroads, was the one that I saw, and I'm looking at it, and one of you just told me it was by a professor from the art school. Yeah, really high-quality production value, and then the story, the content, too, was very impressive. So I think you're off to a great start. Yeah.
Thanks.
So your hopes for this year is pretty much the same, and you expanded it, and you hope to get more people involved?
Exactly, yeah.
Exactly.
Well, that is terrific. You said that short film. What's considered a short film?
Well, it's really anything that's shorter than a feature length, which could be 70 minutes and to 3 hours, something like that. Usually with film festivals, they require their short films be no longer than half an hour. We settled on 20 minutes the first year, last year. We've expanded that to 25 minutes because we felt like we couldn't accept a couple of films because of the time restraint, but we figured 25 minutes would be good to kind of keep the festival moving and keeping participation in our attendees, happy throughout the day.
Do the students, like at the university and do they get excited when you invite them into this? I guess my thought is film festivals are important, and they see it as important. And what are they looking for, and what's the importance that we're trying to get across to them? To use their imagination, to allow the storytelling to have maybe different sides to it?
I think for students, they're thrilled to have anybody watch their work sometimes. I think sometimes also they're just afraid. They're afraid to show their work. They're afraid of criticism. They'll work on this thing for hours at a time, whatever. And as I said, I don't think any writer students submitted last year, but they certainly will this year. I think when they come to the Reimage Film Festival and they see that it's much bigger than just viewing it to your classmates, many of whom just say, yeah, it was great, it was terrific, It's a little different to have a group of people you don't know, strangers sitting in this theater watching your work and then reacting to it afterwards. So as a professor, for me, that's a really, I think, important experience for the students. You create this work and you have to get it out there for people to see. And as I had said, the challenge will be, in this case, will be to have something that's appropriate for the Reimage Film Festival. But I think now that it's been on 1 year and they have all the literature for this year, people are thinking along those lines of doing a short film that has something to do with faith. And then also, I don't know, if you've experienced this at Trent Stayfather, but, I'm sorry, TCNJ, but there's this movement of rock music that's sort of, they call it faith-based music. But if you listen to it, to me, it sounds sort of Satan-ish. It sounds really scary, but it's not. That's just the sound of it. The aesthetic is very kind of rough, but all of the content in it is all about, Jesus, and it's about faith, and it's all this stuff. So I think that there's this sort of movement. I had a student, a very good student, who transferred out of Rider because there wasn't, she didn't think that there was enough focus on faith for her, which was fine. It's a small private institution. But I'm seeing more and more of this. People, young students paying attention to music, to stuff that we, most of us probably wouldn't recognize as this is a part of their faith. More and more in the artistic realm, I think young people are starting to get into this. It seems to be a move in that direction. So I'm hoping to see that manifest itself in the creation of films that we can have in your festival.
Well, last year we had one that was an animated film. So there's a variety of ways you can show your creativity.
And we did have a video as
Right.
well, and it wasn't the same genre of music, but it was also, that was used, and that won an award actually, was the woman's song, and the message that she had in her music was, it captivated people. Because as you were saying about, it's people love to have a venue where other people will view their work, and one of the categories that we did not mention that was prize winning is it's the popular acclaim. So everybody gets a ballot when they come in, and they get to drop that ballot in, and it's a viewer's choice for all the different categories as well. So we do have juried, we have juries for each of the categories, and we try to get people that, we had really great people to be on the juries for last year, and then also the public acclaim as well. I think that's terrific. And then when you were saying as well, as there was a student who graduated, he did submit a film last year from TCNJ, and he is trying to get into the, he's working right now in, into the industry, and in the film that he did, it was with that view to the positive positive aspects of the human person, because that's what he wants to do. He says there's enough, trash stuff that's out there. He says when I do stuff, I want to make sure that it's going to be something quality. If it's not, he's very deep in his Catholic faith, and the thing is, as you know, Catholic Universal, it's more than, more than just the creed that we speak. It's how we live and what we say, and he wants that to experience in his characters that are in his films and all of those sorts of things. So it's a broader way in which we can extend our faith through the way in which we, have our characters speak on the film, and how we film them, show them what they're doing, etc. Gives hope, a lot of hope.
So it's certainly not just about winning a prize or winning something. It more comes out of this for those who get involved in it than just saying, well, gee, I did get first place or third place or something of that nature.
I think it's a great networking opportunity for people who share the same, values and what they want to see on the screen can come together and say, I have an idea for another project. You might be able to help me with that. Instead of, kind of going from job to job, where in the industry, it's a lot of freelance work and you don't know what the next job requires and what kind of content you're going to have to be working within. So,
what does someone who comes to this, who's not, maybe has not produced something or isn't a friend of somebody who produced something, why do people go to this to enhance their own thought, to be challenged, or they just love film?
I think it's all of those. They do. They want to be challenged. They love film. They're looking for new ideas, new visions.
Homilies?
I think I think they want to see projects that lead them somewhere instead of, like our current culture and what's on the TV now. So a lot of it just leads us to dead ends. You know, I think people want something that will lead them to something higher, build a culture of life in a lot of ways.
And you can see through storytelling. I'm a storyteller. I'm not maybe a moviegoer, but you can see through story. Story does bring you right into it, and you're part of the story. So.
Yeah, it's just a different medium. You're a homilist, right? So your medium is different. You'll get up on a pulpit and speak. The film, I think you have people who don't have your skills to be able to get in front of a congregation and speak like that. But maybe they do or maybe they don't, but they can translate their skills to or their desire to spread a message using film. So it can be very powerful and important, especially in this culture. And I agree with you that the niche film festival is becoming more and more popular, and the one-day festival is becoming a bigger thing. You can't get an independent film in the Cannes Film Festival or the big ones. They're all sort of run by big industry Hollywood types now. So these niche film festivals are becoming more popular, and it is alternative programming. I think from seeing the audience last year that there were folks there that had probably never been to a film festival before. You get the film festival types who like it. If there's an artsy film festival in Princeton, they'll go to it. But this looked like a different crowd to me. It looked a little older, a little more introspective, and they wanted to see something different from King of Queens, which is a show I love, but it has a different purpose than a film like Crossroads or things like that.
Sean, the one you're working on now or completed, the title even captures me, Children of Terror, and I know the little bit of the story. Can you tell us about that? That's very, very captivating.
I'd be happy to. It's Children of Terror, which is actually the title of a book that was written by these two women, Inga Auerbacher and Bożena Gilbride. Her maiden name is Urbanowicz. And Bożena was from Poland, and Inga's from Germany. And they were both around 7 to 8 years old in the late 30s, at the culmination of the Second World War. And all of the things that happened in Eastern Europe at that time, they were little girls and experienced it through the lens of 7, 8, 9-year-old girls. Bożena had her mother taken away from her by the Nazis. She went 15 or 16 years without ever seeing her. She had moved to America, married, and started her life. And years later, her mom, who was in a gulag for many years, was released and she met. But her life was completely turned upside down. Inga, the Jewish woman, had, her grandmother, her beloved grandmother, was killed by the Nazis in a concentration camp. And she experienced Kristallnacht firsthand in her house with her grandmother and her mom. Her father and grandfather weren't there that night. And so they have these very compelling stories. But what's interesting, and what I hope a hook for this film, is that there's actually this tension that exists that I didn't know about within the Holocaust survivor community between Catholic Poles specifically and Jews. And Bożena was telling us about some of the resistance, Bożena, the Polish woman, the resistance that she's had at talks where Holocaust survivors will say, "You're not a Holocaust survivor." The Jews were marked for extermination, the Poles weren't. And then, you'll hear Bożena's stories about what she went through, and it really sort of opens your mind to the idea that a 7-year-old girl knows nothing of the geopolitical world in 1938. They know nothing about the difference between a communist and a fascist Nazi. All they know is their worlds were turned upside down, and they were children of terror. They were living in terror through most of their childhoods, unfortunately. So years later, these women met and became friends, and now they go and they do talks. And Inga Auerbacher is this really compelling woman who she's faced a lot of criticism from people in the Holocaust survivor community who say, why are you working with this woman? She's a Pole, she's Catholic, And she says no, that she rejects that. And many people, many people in the Jewish community and the Holocaust survivor community agree with her. But there is this tension that she doesn't need. She's had a very hard life, in many ways. But she says, no, I don't like this. I saw what happened in my town in Germany in the 1930s, and I saw what people did. They said, I don't like this person because he's this or he's that. And she says, that's not right. Before the Nazis came to town, there were Jews and Catholics living in this village for hundreds of years without any problems. What she saw, her experience with the Nazis, and then Bożena, who was devoutly Catholic, she was living in a world all of a sudden where she couldn't pray, where these big Russian soldiers would come into their kindergarten classroom and they'd hand out lemon drops to whoever said Papa Stalin is the ruler. There was no Christmas anymore. At one point, they're in a place where she can't kneel and pray. Her mom says, "Don't kneel and pray," and she suffered tremendously from that because she thought if she didn't get down on her knees to pray, she wouldn't be able to go to heaven. And her mom's trying to convince her it's okay, just lay on your back and pray, and just say it yourself. So it's an interesting story in that you have these two women from vastly different backgrounds who experienced these horrible things as little kids, and now as adults, and now as seniors now, they try to spread their message around that the whole idea of hating somebody because of their religion or
so this just brings us all into many facets of it. With a film like Sean's talking about, gosh, I can't wait to see it for lots of reasons. But so what advice do you give to someone who has an idea like that and to bring it to some completion?
I would tell them, look at any screenwriting course. Many community colleges and continuing education programs offer screenwriting courses where you can kind of focus your idea and get it down on paper. And from there, develop it into something that you could look at as a tangible production.
And not to be afraid,
Right.
just like everything else in life,
step.
jump in,
Yeah.
and do it.
I think there is a distinction between documentary film and narrative storytelling. Narrative storytelling, to me, is you have to be much braver in a way to do that. You're getting actors, and you're really putting art out there, and you're asking people to accept it. So it can be really challenging to sit there and and wonder if people are going to like this or not. The documentary stuff, in a way, it's historical. It's it's different. It requires a whole different skill set. But anybody can do it. What I tell my students is just shoot it, right? Just get a camera and start shooting. The thing about documentary work is it requires, in many ways, a lot of research and sometimes traveling to different places. And if you don't have those kind of resources, you get a video camera these days and some free video editing software, and you can tell your story. Get some of your friends to act some things out. The main thing is to get it down on the page, right? To be able to write a story, and then just try it, shoot it, and you'd be surprised at what you could produce.
Now, why do you feel this is so important to the diocese to have a day for a film festival?
Well, I think we're taking a stand, for something positive, and I think it's groundbreaking. I think, amongst the dioceses in the U.S., for us to put something forth like this, because we, the challenging, whether it's in campus ministry of the college or in the parish, is to meet people where they are. And where they are is a nation of people who view things on television and the movies. And so we want to meet them where we are with the gospel message and hopefully proclaim it through our storytelling.
Well, I tell you what, thank you very, very, very much. We could just go on and on and on. In fact, Sean has another one about one of our great priests, Monsignor McCarson. More information about the film festival, tickets to get involved, reimagefilmfestival.com. Bless you. Join. Have fun.
Submit your films.
Yeah, that's right.
That's terrific. Thank you. Yeah,